Who for you personally? Who's been? I know you don't want to.
You can't.
You can't
You're going to
highlight
ask
one.
me about who my
Not the
favorite
favourite.
child is.
No. Who is? Yeah, it's exactly that question. What's been the most life-changing one for you? Like, what
Yes.
was the event that you think really put you guys on the map?
Oh, that put Thinking on the map? That was probably Neil deGrasse Tyson first time 2015. So I toured him twice, 2015, 2017. Probably that was the biggest tour at that point that we'd run. And that's, I think, the one that gained the most attention because he's the most mainstream.
Yeah, he had the Cosmos series.
Yes.
Yeah.
And, but I mean, I've done a range of things, you know, that are large scale, some things that were more controversial that kind of put Thinking on a map in a different way. So it really depends how you've heard about Thinking to what your perspective might be about it.
Yeah, and I mean, you've had some fascinating individuals that I love to listen from. Sam Harris, obviously Neil deGrasse Tyson.
Yes.
I think you were the one who brought Sam and Majid out for their
That's right,
book.
2016.
2016,
yeah,
that's right.
that was a fantastic tour, a very important tour that I think made big impact.
Yeah.
And I think the one I did recently that had a very big impact was Cornel West and Douglas Murray. Did you hear about this one?
Yes. Yeah, so I remember when Douglas Murray was out here. Do you know what? I completely missed that whole process, and I was wanting to interview Douglas Murray so badly. But anyway.
Why didn't you reach out?
I don't know.
You forgot?
I forgot. It's just it was at a period of time where we had so many interviews going on. I just knew that, you know, in the past, it's very hard to get some people like that with those sort of profiles. So I don't know. I feel like at that time, when were they out?
August
of last year.
August 2018.
Okay. So why do you think that was so impactful?
What we were able to do was display what true even-handed debate looks like on stage. And it set an example and a precedent for people from the left and the right of politics of how real conversation should be had. So Dr. Cornel West, I taught him in 2015. I think that was probably one of the most impactful tours that, for me personally, that I've run, because Dr. Cornel West is so full of love. And so I kind of ended that tour feeling so loving, so open. And that was very special. So knowing him, 2015, and then meeting Douglas, and met Douglas a couple of times in the UK and inviting them to come to Australia to speak, I knew could make an impact. And what happened was, you know, Douglas being on the right side of politics and Dr. West being on the left, we were able to attract both sides to the event.
Oh, really?
So it wasn't an event where it was just lefties or just conservatives. It was two sides of politics. So, for example, in what happened was in Sydney, actually, we hosted it at the Enmore Theatre, and a boy turned up, maybe a young boy, maybe 19. He turned up with a "Make America Great Again" hat. And I was told by security as the event was starting that he was shoved outside the venue. And
by who? The security?
No, by people that disagreed with his political perspective.
Okay.
And he took a seat, and during the Q&A, so I said to the security, please watch out for him. I don't want any of my audience to get hurt. And he went up and to ask a question during the Q&A, open Q&A. I think that was very important because people needed to ask questions from both sides to both men. And he asked a question about 18C, and from one side of the audience, someone yells, "Shut the F up." Someone from the other side of the audience starts yelling, "You shut the F up." The audience kind of is all freaking out, chattering, you know, and security's coming in. The men on stage were just like, guys, you've seen us talking. We disagree on politics. We've got so many things that we do agree on, but we disagree fundamentally on politics. We're showing you how to have this conversation, how to have a conversation with someone you disagree with. We have to show respect.
Yeah.
And he got to ask his question. I think that's important. You know, no matter what side of politics you fall into, you need to be able to have conversations with people that you disagree with in order for us to further society.
Yeah. I completely agree. I think, and to tie into the hat, I remember Lauren was thinking recently about us starting to use a hashtag called "Make Conversation Great Again."
Yes,
and,
I think I think
it's very important. And I do you know what? a lefty and a right-leaning guy who would be super fascinating would be, oh God bless his name, who used to host QI.
Stephen Fry.
Stephen Fry.
Oh, love Stephen Fry.
So I would call him centre-left and I would call Jordan Peterson centre-right. But they were on the same team for that fucking debate in Canada.
Well, they were debating with...
Even though they disagree fundamentally on a lot of things.
Yes, it was about free speech.
It was about... Yeah, it was about political correctness. Is political...
Michael Dyson.
Yeah, Michael Dyson.
And that a lady.
Yeah, I forgot her name. Whoops. It was a brilliant talk, though, because it was like... Is political correctness a good or a bad thing?
Yes, I really enjoy those debates. I think they're really interesting.
Really, really good.
They're really good. I didn't want to host a debate like that because I wanted to show how people can have conversation.
Yeah.
Rather than who's right, who's wrong, let's vote and then walk away with our opinion. I wanted it to be more like, well, and this is what I heard as I was standing at the back of the room and people were exiting. I remember in the Sydney show, they said, I came in really liking Cornel West and I'm walking out. I really like them both. And I was like, they even like the conservative. I think that's beautiful. I think that's great that they could see the humanity in that person from the right.
Yeah.
And the men ended up liking each other, Dr. West and Douglas did. I at the end of that tour, I felt like we'd made a difference. We'd impacted people's perspectives and we made them more open-minded. So that brings me joy.